Today's reading is the conclusion of Vanishing Act, a short story in the collection Stranger Things Happen by Kelly Link. "What are you doing?" James says, coming upon Hildy in the gazebo. She puts down the binoculars and shrugs elaborately. "Just looking at things." James' eyes narrow. "You better not be spying on me, you little brat." He twists the flesh of her arm above the elbow hard enough to leave a bruise. "Why would I want to watch you?" Hildy yells at him. "You're the most boring person I know. You're more boring than she is." She means Jenny Rose, but James doesn't understand. "You must be the most hopeless spy in the world, you little bitch. You wouldn't even notice the end of the world. She's going to kick him out of the house soon, and you probably won't even notice that." "What?" Hildy says, stunned, but James stalks off. She doesn't understand what James just said, but she knows that marijuana affects the brains of people who use it. Poor James. The lights in her bedroom flick on and off, light, darkness, light. Myron and Hildy are in the basement. In between studying for biology and cutting out articles for current events, they played desultory ping-pong. "Is your cousin a mutant?" Myron says. "Or is she just a mute aunt?" Hildy serves. "She can talk fine, she just doesn't want to." "Huh, just like she doesn't bother to turn the lights on and off the way normal people do." He misses again. "She's not that bad," Hildy says. "Yeah, sure. That's why we spy on her all the time. I bet she's really a communist spy, and that's why you have to keep an eye on her, spying on a spy. I bet her parents are spies, too." "She's not a spy," Hildy yells and hits the ball so hard that it bounces off the wall. It's moving much faster than it should. It whizzes straight for the back of Myron's head, veering off at the last minute to smash into one of the spider plants. The macrame plant holder swings faster and faster, loops up and drops like a bomb on the carpet. Untouched, the other macrame plant holders explode like tiny bombs, spilling dirt, spider plants, old ping-pong balls all over the basement floor. Hildy looks over and sees Jenny Rose standing on the bottom step. She's come down the stairs as silently as a cat. Myron sees her, too. She's holding a postage stamp in her hand. "I'm sorry," Myron says, his eyes wide and scared. "I didn't mean it." Jenny Rose turns and walks up the stairs, still clutching the postage stamp. Her feet on the stairs make no sound, and her legs are as white and thin as two ghosts. Hildy collects lipsticks. She has 2 that her mother gave her and a third that she found under the seat of her father's car. One is a waxy red, so red that Hildy thinks it might taste like a candy apple. One is pink, and the one that she found in the car is so dark that when she puts it on, her mouth looks like a small fat plum. She practices saying sexy words, studying her reflection in the bathroom mirror, her mouth a glossy bright O. "Oh, darling," she says, "you're the handsomest, you're the funniest, you're the smartest man I know. Give me a kiss, my darling." She wants to tell Jenny Rose that if Jenny Rose wore lipstick, maybe people would notice her. Maybe people would fall in love with her, just as they will fall in love with Hildy. Hildy kisses her reflection. The mirror is smooth and cool as water. She keeps her eyes open, and she sees the mirror face, yearning and as close to her own face as possible, the slick cheek pressed against her own warm cheek. In the mirror she looks like Jenny Rose, or maybe she has watched Jenny Rose for too long, and now Jenny Rose is all she can see. She leans her forehead against the mirror, suddenly dizzy. Myron won't come over to the Harmons' house any more. He goes to the Y instead, plays basketball until his mother comes to pick him up. He avoids Hildy at school, and finally Hildy calls and explains that she needs him, that it's an emergency. They meet in the gazebo, of course. Myron won't go inside the house, he says, even to pee. How are things? Myron says. Fine, Hildy says. They are as formal as two ambassadors. I'm sorry I called your cousin a communist. That's okay. Look, Hildy says. She presses the heel of her ked against a loose board until the other end pops up. In the hollow, there is a stack of white envelopes with square holes where the stamps have been cut out. She picks up the top one, dated July 19, 1970. It's her secret place. These are her letters. I hope you didn't read them, Myron says. He sounds prim, as if he thinks they shouldn't read other people's letters, not even letters from spies. Of course I did, she tells him, and she's not a spy. She just misses her parents. Oh, is that all? He asks sarcastically. Hildy remembers the cool surface of the mirror, the way it almost gave way against her forehead like water. She wants to go home. She's going to disappear herself. She's been practicing with the light switch, moving it up and down. She's going to disappear herself back to Indonesia and her parents. You're kidding, he says. But Hildy is sure. She knows this as plainly as if Jenny Rose had told her. The letters are a history of disappearance, reappearance, of traveling. It is what they don't say that is important. Her parents always tell her how much they love her. They tell her the things that they've seen and done, and they ask her to be happy. But they never tell her they miss her, that they wish she was with them. I wouldn't miss her, Myron says, interrupting. Hildy ignores him. They don't tell her they miss her because they know that she would come to them. She's the most stubborn person I know. She's still waiting for them to say it, to say she can come home. You're getting as weird as she is, Myron says. Why are you telling me all this? Hildy doesn't say, because you're my best friend. She says, because you have terrible handwriting, you write like an adult. So what? I want you to help me steal her next letter. I want you to write like them, write that she can go home now. I can't do it. What if she recognized my handwriting? You want me to get rid of her for you, Myron says. I think that if she doesn't go home soon, she'll get sick. She might even die. She never eats anything anymore. So call the doctor, Myron says. No way, I can't help you. But in the end he does. It is December, and the RM has canceled 2 conferences with Jenny Rose's teachers, busy with her church duties. It doesn't really matter. The teachers don't notice Jenny Rose. They call on other students, check off her name and attendance without looking to see her. Hildy watches Jenny Rose. She looks away to see Myron watching her. He passes her a note in class on Tuesday. I can't keep my eyes on her. How can you stand it? Hildy can barely decipher his handwriting, but he knows Jenny Rose will be able to read it. Jenny Rose can do anything. This morning, the RM almost walked right into Jenny Rose. Hildy was sitting at the breakfast table eating cereal. She saw the whole thing. Jenny Rose opened the refrigerator door, picked out an orange, and then as she left the kitchen, the RM swerved into the room around her as if Jenny Rose were an inconveniently placed piece of furniture. Mum, Hildy said. The RM picked up Hildy's cereal bowl to wash it before Hildy was finished. What, the RM said. I want to talk to you about Jenny Rose. Your cousin, said the RM. It was nice having her stay with us, wasn't it? Never mind, Hildy said. She went to get ready for school. The 3 of them sit in the boat. The water is green. The boat is greened. She is surprised sometimes when she opens her eyes that her skin isn't green. Sometimes she is worried because her parents aren't there. Sometimes There is another girl in the boat, bigger than her, always scowling. She wants to tell this girl not to scowl, but it's better to ignore her, to concentrate on putting her parents back in the boat. Go away, she tells the girl silently, but that isn't right. She's the one who has to go away. What is the girl's name? The girl refuses to sit still. She stands up and waves her arms and jumps around and can't even see that she is in danger of falling into the water. Go away, she thinks at the girl. I'm busy. I blew the roof off a prison once. I knocked the walls down so I could look at the stars. Why can't I make you go away? I can walk on water. Can you? When I leave, I'm taking the boat with me. And then where will you be, silly girl? Hildy loves her mother's preaching voice, so strong and bell clear. The R.M. and Hildy's father fight all the time now. The R.M. stays in the kitchen until late at night, holding conversations in a whisper with Mercy Orzabal, Myron's mother, over the phone. Hildy can't hear what the R.M. is saying when she whispers, but she's discovered that if she stands very quietly just inside the kitchen door, she can make herself as invisible as Jenny Rose. It is just like hiding under the ping-pong table. No one can see her. At night, when the R.M. screams at her husband, Hildy covers her ears with her hands. She sticks the pillow over her head. Lately, Hildy never loses at ping-pong, although she tries to let her father win. The skin under her father's eyes is baggy and too pink. Next week, he is going away to a conference on American literature. The R.M. stands straight as a pin behind the pulpit, but this is what Hildy remembers her mother sitting curled on the kitchen floor the night before, cupping the phone to her ear, smoking cigarette after cigarette. Hildy waited for her mother to see her, standing in the doorway. The R.M. slammed the phone down on the hook. "That bitch," she said, and sat sucking in smoke and looking at nothing at all. Hildy's father sits with the choir, listening attentively to his wife's sermon. This is what Hildy remembers. At dinner, the spoon trembling in his hand as he lifted it to his mouth, his wife watching him. Hildy looked at her father, then at her mother, then at Jenny Rose, who never seems to look at anything, whom no one else sees except Hildy. It is easier now, looking at Jenny Rose. Hildy finds it hard to look at anyone else for very long. Jenny Rose sits beside her on the wooden pew bench, her leg touching Hildy's leg. Hildy knows that Jenny Rose is only holding herself upon the bench by great effort. It is like sitting beside a struck match that waits and refuses to ignite. Hildy knows that Jenny Rose is so strong now that if she wanted, she could raise the roof, turn the communion grape juice into wine, walk on water. How can the R.M. not see this, looking down from the pulpit at Hildy, her eyes never focusing on her niece, as if Jenny Rose has already gone, as if Jenny Rose was never there? Even with her eyes closed for the benediction, Hildy can still see Jenny Rose. Jenny Rose's eyes remain open. Her hands are cupped and expectant. Her leg trembles against Hildy's leg, or maybe it is Hildy's leg that trembles beneath the weight of her mother's voice, her father's terrible, pleading smile. For a moment, she longs to be as invisible as Jenny Rose, to be such a traveler. When the mail comes on Monday, there is a letter from Jenny Rose's parents. Hildy extracts the letter from the pile. Myron watches, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. He is not happy about being in the same house as Jenny Rose. All weekend, Myron has been practicing 2 short phrases with the aid of one of the original letters. Hildy steams open the letter over the tea kettle while Myron watches. The light in Hildy's bedroom flicks on, flicks off, flicks on again. Hildy can feel it pulling at her. For a moment, she feels as if she were tumbling down the spout, falling into the kettle. She might drown in the kettle water. It's that deep. She's gotten too small. She shakes her head, takes a breath. They take the letter down to the basement and sit under the ping-pong table while Hildy quickly scans it. Myron, who has gone to the trouble of collecting an assortment of pens, adds a postscript in black ballpoint. "We miss you so much, darling Jenny. Please come home." It doesn't match, Myron says, handing the letter to Hildy. She folds it back into the envelope and glues the envelope shut again. It really doesn't matter. Jenny Rose is ready to go. Hildy realizes that she wasn't worried Jenny Rose would recognize her handwriting. It wasn't because of that. Hildy just wants a witness, someone who will see what she has done, what Jenny Rose will do. "I saw your father," Myron says. "He was at my house last night." "He's out of town," Hildy says. "He went to a conference." "He stayed all night long," Myron says. "I know because when I went to school this morning he was hiding in my mother's bedroom." "You're such a liar," Hildy says. "My father is in Wisconsin. He called us from the hotel. How do you think he got from Wisconsin to your house? Do you think he flew?" "You think Jenny Rose can fly?" Myron says. His face is very red. "Get out of my house," Hildy says. Her hand floats at her side, longing to slap him. "I think you're nuts," Myron says, "just like her." And he leaves. His back is stiff with outrage. Hildy rocks back and forth, sitting under the ping-pong table. She holds the letter in her hand as if it were a knife. She thinks about Jenny Rose and what is going to happen. Hildy is theatrical enough to want a bang at the end of all her labors. She wants to see Jenny Rose restored to herself. Hildy wants to see the mythical being that she is sure her cousin contains, like a water glass holding a whole ocean. She wants to see Jenny Rose's eyes flash, hear her voice boom, see her fly up the chimney and disappear like smoke. After all, she owes Hildy something. Hildy, who generously divided her room in half. Hildy, who has arranged for Jenny Rose to go home. No one is in the house now. James, 2 months away from his birthday, has gone to register for the draft. Her father is still in Wisconsin. Myron is such a liar. And her mother is at the church. So, after a while, Hildy brings the letter to Jenny Rose, gives it to her cousin who is lying on her bed. Hildy sits on her own bed and waits while Jenny Rose opens the letter. At first it seems that Hildy has miscalculated, that the postscript is not enough. Jenny Rose sits, her head bent over the letter. She doesn't move or exclaim or do anything. Jenny Rose just sits and looks down at the letter in her lap. Then Hildy sees how tightly Jenny Rose holds the letter. Jenny Rose looks up, and her face is beautiful with joy. Her eyes are green and hot. All around Jenny Rose the air is hot and bright. Hildy inhales the air, the buzzing rain and rusted metal smell of her cousin. Jenny Rose stands up. The air seems to wrap around her like a garment. It sounds like swarms and swarms of invisible bees. Hildy's hair raises on her scalp. All around them, drawers and cabinets dump their contents on the floor, while T-shirts whoosh up, slapping sleeves against the ceiling. School books open and flap around the room like bats, and one by one the 3 oranges lift out of the blue bowl on the bedside table. They roll through the air, faster and faster, circling around Jenny Rose on her bed. Hildy ducks as tubes of lipstick knock upon the bureau drawer, and dart towards her like little chrome and tangerine, flamingo and ebony-colored bees. Everything is buzzing, humming. The room is full of bees. And then, "I'm making a mess," Jenny Rose says. She tears the stamp from the envelope, gives it to Hildy. Only their 2 hands touch, but Hildy falls back on the bed, as if she has stuck her fingers in an electrical outlet. She flies backwards onto her bed. Jenny Rose walks into the bathroom, and Hildy can see the bathtub full of water. The silly little boat. Is that what she wanted? The green water spilling over the lip of the tub and rushing over Jenny Rose's feet. Be careful, Hildy thinks. The door slams shut. As Hildy catches her breath, the air in the room becomes thin, and her ears pop. The magic trick is over. The bathroom is empty. Jenny Rose has gone home. Hildy bursts into tears, sits on her bed, and waits for her mother to come home. After a while, she begins to pick up her room. This is the first and most mysterious of 3 vanishings. No one but Hildy seems to notice that Jenny Rose is gone. A few months later, James goes to Canada. He is dodging the draft. He tells no one he is going, and Hildy finds the brief, impersonal note. He is failing his senior classes. He is afraid. He loves them, but they can't help him. Please take care of his fish. When Mr. Harmon moves out of the house, Hildy has resigned herself to this, that life is a series of sudden disappearances, leave-takings without proper goodbyes. Some day she too might vanish. Some days she looks forward to learning this trick. What sustains her is the thought of the better place in which one arrives. This is the RM's heaven, the Canada that James has escaped to. It is the arms of Mercy Orzabal with her bright glossy mouth, who tells Mr. Harmon how witty, how charming, how handsome he is. It is the green lake in the photograph Jenny Rose has sent Hildy from the island of Flores. In the photograph, Jenny Rose sits between her mother and father in a funny little white boat with a painted red eye. On the back of the photograph is an enigmatic sentence. There is a smudge that could be a question mark. The punctuation is uncertain. Wish you were here. Wish you were here?